is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Dart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You don't think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It's in-game live game day on a terrific Thursday evening. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden sitting in for Dave Sherapan tonight as we take you over the next 2 glorious hours right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, betting in the world of sports. Much like the past couple of weeks, playoff hockey, playoff basketball, couple of baseball games. It was getaway day today, so a lot of the games were this afternoon or just not on the schedule at all, but we got a few, including the Dodgers in Arizona. Not a bad game with Yamamoto on the hill for L.A. We'll get into a little bit later on. We got Black Clouds, same game parlays, and in a couple of moments, our 5 on the line, which was back in the winner's circle last night. So it's a busy, busy night. My partner in crime, Joe Madden. What's going on, Joe? How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's great to see playoff hockey locking down in the first period here with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals already. Those limited shots on goal have been crazy out there in this period between these two, in the second period just kicking off, Scott. So 0-0 game there, but we've got a ton of action out there. Excited for tonight's show. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, I get the sense, Joe, that maybe, just maybe, the pendulum on all these NHL overs is starting to swing. We had 2 unders last night. Now, thankfully, one of them from 2 nights ago was a 6.5, but we went 1-1 2 nights ago. So now we're 3-1 under last 4 games, which is a far cry from what it was. So we're still 33 over, 19 under, 14 more. But like I said, eventually that stuff comes back, and the means kind of settle in, and there really should be more unders than overs, considering the defensive style in the postseason. So I just wonder, we got no score in this first game, Washington and Carolina. We got a 6.5 for the later game that we'll get into here in a little bit, Edmonton and Vegas. But I just wonder, Joe, if all the crazy scoring outside of a couple of empty netters has ended, or at least slowed down some.
It's definitely going to slow down, Scott. You're going to look at defenses coming out so much stronger, goaltenders looking to lock down as well. But I do think it will be nice live betting opportunities for totals then going into the second periods like we have right now. We got a 4.5 between these two teams. You get 2 goals apiece. We go to overtime. That gets us to 5. So I very well could see it going over the 4.5. And that's a great price right now, plus 106. So I do think in some of these games, we're going to see that lockdown in the first, but we could see it gradually get those goals in the second and the third.
Yeah, I thought Washington, let's face it, right? Their season's basically on the line. I mean, they would only be down 2-zip, but to be down 2-zip, Joe, losing both games at home against a Carolina team that's great at home and not so on the road, and yet Carolina's in a position, it's no score, but, just reemphasizes Washington can't lose these first two games at home and realistically win this series, right?
Oh, no, they absolutely can't. You look at the Carolina Hurricanes and how dominant they are on their home ice. It'd be very hard for Washington without the last change out there. But they do have Logan Thompson between the pipes, and he is a stellar goaltender for them. So they might shock us getting a win there in Carolina, but definitely they can't go down 0-2. So their defense coming out nice and strong. And Scott, do you realize in that first game between these two, the Washington Capitals had 32 block shots? It's unbelievable
Wow.
numbers. 33 shots on goal for Carolina and 32 block shots for the Washington Capitals. So they actually had 65 attempts, right? Like that's just
Wow.
crazy numbers.
That is. And FanDuel here in New York, surprisingly enough, offering block shots. They haven't done that recent, or at least not in a regular season anyway. And then last year in the postseason, when you and I talked about it on our weekend show, I don't ever remember seeing the block shot props here in New York, but they are, this year. So it's kind of a goofy prop, but they do actually keep track of that stuff. There is a stat in your box score for block shots. So maybe a way to go. By the way, Carolina, 31-10 this year in the regular season. Tack on 3 more wins against the Devils, so 34-10 at home. So very, very tight. The Washington's got to win tonight. It's as simple as that. So, all right, one of the things we do here are 5 best trends. Back in the winner's circle yesterday after 2 and 3s on Monday and Tuesday, went 4-1 and really, famous last words from bettors, right? Should have been 5-0. We hit the first 4. Then we had Toronto with a 2-run lead, bottom of the 9th inning against the pathetic LA Angels, and they blew that and ended up losing. I mean, you can't complain with 4-1, but we were in a position to go 5-0. So 4-1, we'll take it. I'll take a 4-1 tonight, that's for sure. 8-7 now for the week. 102 up, only 72 down. 30 games over 500 with our trend plays. So here we go. Time for 5 on the line. All right, sometimes we give trends that we don't like. Other times we give trends that we definitely like. It's kind of a mixed bag tonight. We'll start in the NBA, Joe. We'll go from 5 down to the best 1. Number 5, Minnesota basketball, 9-2 under their last 11 games. Throw in Steph Curry's not playing tonight for Golden State. First game went way under. So where are we going to go? Let's go under 201.5 Golden State at Minnesota. Game number 2 of their NBA playoff series. Play number 4, we'll go to hockey, the late game. Edmonton against Vegas. Edmonton 13-3 under their last 16 road games, including game 1. Because remember, you're getting 6.5 here, not 5.5. So 13-3, last 16 on the road for the Oilers. You know where we're going to go. Let's go under 6.5. Edmonton at Las Vegas. That one I kind of like. Baseball, your beloved Toronto Blue Jays. Are they really going to get swept by the god-awful LA Angels? We'll keep throwing it out there. 11-2 versus LA. 11-3 at Los Angeles as well, even though they dropped the first 2. One more try. Toronto, Joe, minus 125 against the LA Angels. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. If they get swept, I'll never bet Toronto ever again. Play number 2, top 5 plays, top 5 trends, actually. Dodgers against Arizona, late baseball game. Dodgers 9-2 over their last 11 against Arizona. Oh, check that. 9-2, last 11 overall. So they're on a great little run, and Arizona is only 5-9 their last 14 games. So one hot team, one cold team. Where are we going to go? Give us the Dodgers. Decent little price. Minus 154 was we made the graphic against Arizona. And then that leaves us with just one. The number 1 coup de grace, creme de la creme, best trend of the night. It's going to be a double dipper in that Dodger game. We're going to go LA versus Arizona. The number 1 trend is... Yes. Let's go over. 9-1 last 10 meetings, including 7 in a row. All 7 last year. So over 8.5 Dodgers at Arizona. I will say the line is up to 9, which is actually a pretty good sign. Hopefully you get it at 8.5, but FanDuel has it at 9. But over 8.5, over 9, either way, take the over. So what do you think, Joe? Which one's your favorites? Which ones don't you like?
Oh, I love basically all of them here, Scott, except for the Toronto Blue Jays. I can't trust the Toronto Blue Jays. That bullpen just lets those games go and those runners can't come home. So that's the only one I have some nerves about. I have them in the first 5. I love the Dodgers and the over tonight. In that game, you got Yamamoto coming out for the Dodgers. You also have a beautiful night there in Arizona. I think that ball is going to be flying, and the Dodgers definitely have the advantage out there on the field tonight. So it's going to be a great game, and the Capitals have gone up, Scott. McMichael's just got to go for them.
I see that. 1-0 Washington, 3.5 minutes in. We'll check the scores and update the line when we come back in Game Live.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 1, just getting underway. We got our trend plays on the board, our 5 on the line, in case you missed them real quickly. Under Golden State and Minnesota in the basketball game. Minnesota 9-2 under run. Under 6.5 Edmonton, Vegas. Edmonton 13-3 under last 16 road games. Toronto minus the 125 against the Angels. They beat up on LA, even though they have dropped the first 2 in the series. Dodgers Chargers minus 154 against Arizona. LA all over Arizona, 9-2 overall. Arizona 5-7, and then over 8.5, maybe 9. LA, Arizona, as they've had a 9-1 over run, including 7 straight overs their last 10 meetings, and then obviously the last 7 meetings for 7 straight. So our 5 on the line. Joe, you said it there. Washington scores, right? We talked about it. Must win for Washington. Is that another one, or is that just a little delayed? That was the delayed first one. Okay. That's okay. Yes, that's okay. So Washington scores. McMichael early second period, and 1-0 Capitals, who are now a minus 210 favorite after being Capitals or Carolina by what, minus 130 or so, 135 favorite. Washington right around 115. So 1-0 Washington.
That line went all the way up to plus 140 for the Washington Capitals, Scott, and I still don't understand why the books made Carolina such a favorite, because you look at that last game, game 1 of this series, we did see the Washington Capitals hold that lead all the way into the third period, 1-0, and then Carolina tied it up late, pushed it to overtime, and then their defenseman Slavin came in and was able to get the overtime winner. So it was a tight battle out there at plus 140. I had to take the Washington Capitals going into this, and I think if you did and you're a little nervous, you can come back here, hedge your bet right now on the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 164. I'm not going to go there, Scott, but it would be a great hedging opportunity. What did you do going into this one?
I liked Washington. I didn't play the over or under. Like I said, I get a sense we're going to get a couple of 3-1, 2-1 type of games here. So I stayed away from that. Did like Washington, figuring, you know what? It's basically season on the line, and Carolina is so bad on the road. So I like the Capitals. I did play over. We got a little work to go, but over Frederick Anderson, saves actually, 21.5. I looked it up, Joe, and I know Washington got 15 or so, whatever, it was some ridiculous number in game 1. But I did look back into previous games, and that was kind of an anomaly. I don't know what happened to Washington game 1. Generally speaking, that they put around 25 shots on goal on him when these teams meet. So I played over 21.5 saves. Anderson, he has 5. Washington has 6 shots on goal through basically a game and a half, or a period and a half. 12 minutes left to go in the second period. They're leading, but man, they're just generating no offense, Joe. You're not going to be able to win games like this. You may win one contest, but you can't win series. Shooting 15 shots on goal a game. That's nuts.
Oh, exactly. Like if I told you Washington had 14 shots on goal and one of these teams had 33 block shots, you would think it was the Carolina Hurricanes, right? Stepping in front of that puck. Carolina just coming out so strong defensively, but it just wasn't the case. It was Washington that had all those block shots. Carolina only had 9 block shots in the last game, and a stat just popped up a couple of minutes ago. So these numbers have changed a little bit, but so far with this game and the last, we're seeing the Washington Capitals with 44 block shots and 12 for the Carolina Hurricanes. So we're seeing it again, where the Washington Capitals are getting in front of the net there. So I'm glad you didn't take a bet here on Logan Thompson. I do think we're going to see Frederick Anderson by the end of the day be able to clear that number, especially if we do see Carolina tie this one up. Scott, it's going to be pivotal here for the Washington Capitals to get those shots, to find a way. And that's going to be what it comes down to. It's like the later game as well. Vegas only had 17 shots in the last game. It's crazy to think how many block shots and how many limited shots these defenses have held both of these teams to.
Yeah, and they have 11 in the first period, Vegas. I couldn't believe it. I like I said, I did bet Washington, and I don't usually hedge this early, but you said it, Joe. Everything that happened in game 1, which was a Carolina win, is happening here. Not only did Carolina outshoot Washington in the first game 33-14, you said it. Washington also had 30 some blocks. So that's like 60 plus actual shots that, for whatever reason didn't go through, but 60 shots. Washington, on the other hand, only had the actual 14 shots on goal and then only 9 blocks, as you pointed out. So that adds up to 23. So one team's getting 60 opportunities to shoot the puck. The other team's only getting 23. And the same thing, like you said, is happening now. So they scored the goal, But if Carolina continues this pressure, unless Thompson really just stands on his head tonight, I can't help but think that Carolina's going to at least tie this thing up. So I'm going to grab the plus 172 and kind of hedge just a little bit on the Washington play.
Well, it's such good value, right? Hedging, it's gone up to plus 180 right now. Do you think it's because the Washington Capitals are trying to play too pretty of hockey? We see Edmonton get it caught in situations like this as well, where they're not crashing their net, they're not taking all of those shots and trying to fight for that rebound, something that, the Dallas Stars have been phenomenal at doing in the playoffs so far. So I wonder if that's part of the issue for the Washington Capitals here. I think they just have to drive to the net and look to play that gritty style of hockey where they're just continuing to fire away. So I'd like to see them open it up that way, Scott.
Yeah, Ovechkin, 1 shot on goal game 1, 1 shot that he missed. So he's had 2 shots. He's got 1 so far tonight, a missed shot, no official shots on goal. So in a game and a half, he has 3 actual shots, only 1 on net. He gets that in a period. He gets that in 10 minutes, for goodness sakes. So it's not just the other guys, Joe. It's even Alex Ovechkin who's being bottled up here and not being aggressive, or at least not getting his shots. You can have shots but just happen to miss or get blocked, but they're not even doing that. It's amazing. Yeah, they're up 1-0 though. They are up 1-0. So give them credit for that, I suppose. All right, quick little break. When we come back, SGP same game parlay time. I got 1 in the basketball game. Joe's got 1 as well. We'll throw that to you when we come back here on the Grid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate them.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe Madden until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. A little hockey. NBA starts here in about 5 minutes or so. Then a few baseball games. So you know what time it is. Time for a little SGP same game parlay time. All right, Joe, I'll go first since my game starts here in about 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. That's the basketball game, Minnesota, Golden State. Not going to fool around with the point spread. I can't lay double digits in these games. These second-round games have been just too crazy for the underdog, right? So give me Minnesota, though. I got a 5-legger. I'm going to start with Minnesota money line. I think they do win against Golden State. I'm going to go over 201.5 Golden State, Minnesota. I know, no Steph Curry, and that number dropped from 210.5 in game number 1 down to 201.5, but I love playing overs in games in which star players don't play. The other guys pick up the slack, and I'll give you a reason for that as well when we break down that game. But over 201.5. I got to go with Rudy Gobert, a double-double, plus 165. He's going to get 10 rebounds. It's just whether he gets 10 points or not for me. And I think he will. He can either get it naturally or they're doing the hack-a-shack with him. And he's getting 2, 3, 4 opportunities late in games to go to the free throw line. And, even if he hits just half his free throws, he's going to get 10 points. So I'm going to put the double-double in there, giving you a decent little number. I'm going to go Anthony Edwards, 25 points. He stunk out game 1. He's got to come back and play at least halfway decently. And then who's going to pick up the slack for Golden State? I'm going to go Brandon Pozinski. 15 points or more, plus 136. He averages around 12 and a half. So we're not asking for that much more than what he's getting. I think that's really basically one bucket. So you add it all up and it's a decent 1350. It was fluctuating 1350, 1450. So I figured I'd give you the lower number, but don't be surprised if it pays out even more. So Minnesota money line over in the game. Rudy Gobert double-double. Edwards 25 or more points, and then Pozinski for Golden State 15 or more points, plus 1350.
I love it, Scott. I'm looking at all of those legs going, they all should cash there and at plus 1350. Sign me up all day long. I'm going to tail you on that one. That's going to be a great game. Can hardly wait to see how Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green come out, though, for Golden State without Steph out there on the court. So it's going to be really interesting. But for my same game parlay, I'm turning to the ice and I'm looking at our later matchup between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. And I've got a easy, quick parlay for you guys. It's a 3-leg parlay. It's coming in at plus 442, and it really isn't going to take a side into an account. It's not going to take a total, but I am going to look at 2 players for their points as well as a goaltender. So first player, I'm looking at Thomas Hertl, the Vegas Golden Knights, just to get a point tonight. Now that's coming in at minus 130. You look at Thomas Hertl in the postseason, and he does have 5 points, 2 power play assists, and 3 goals. And I do think he really needs to step up for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. And we're going to see that here after being so quiet in game 1 of this series. So Thomas Hertl for the point here for Vegas. Then Evan Bouchard. We got to find value when we're looking even at our parlays, adding players. Evan Bouchard has been strong. He had 2 assists in the last game. 4 goals, 5 assists in the playoffs thus far, and we're getting his point tonight at minus 106. So much better value than looking at the guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and he's a top defenseman out there. He's going to be on that top power play unit as well. So Evan Bouchard for the point at minus 106, and then I really do think we need to see Adin Hill step up for the Vegas Golden Knights. We know how elite the offense is here of the Edmonton Oilers, and I do think they will be bringing those shots. They've dominated the faceoff in the last game, winning 63.5% of those faceoffs, and they were able to put up 28 shots on goal. Now we know they won that 4-2. There was no empty netters in that. So Adin Hill didn't clear the number in the last game. He only stopped 24 of 28, but today his number is 24.5. I'm expecting more shots out of the Edmonton Oilers. So I do think we'll see Adin Hill go over the 24.5 save shots on goal. So 3 legs altogether at plus 442. That's Thomas Hertl for his point at minus 130, Evan Bouchard for his point at minus 106, and Adin Hill over 25.5 save shots on goal at minus 106. Scott.
All right, that's interesting. Yeah, I was hemming and hawing on either Hill or Pickard. And I actually like both, but I don't want to play both. The chance of both goalies, hitting their saves and number in the postseason especially is rare. So I actually went with Pickard, but Pickard. But I like Adin Hill as well. It's amazing how these numbers come so close. I mean, it really is just like 1 or 2 shots on goal. Does the guy make a save or does he allow a goal? Of course, if he allows the goal, then it doesn't count as a save. So I got a great bet for you for the Golden State Minnesota game when we come back.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds. Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better, and they can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 1. Let's talk a little baseball here in a second, but I did want to throw this stat that I was digging up and I found and need to get it in, before the game starts. And that's Golden State of Minnesota. They tip off in about 2, 3, 4 minutes or so. Everyone's all over the under, right? It was 210.5 in game 1. It's down to 201.5. Warriors team total, Joe, is 95.5. They played 12 games this year without Steph Curry. They're actually 7-5, but you could say, all right, that's not that great, Scott. Okay. But you know how many times out of 12 they've scored more than 95 points? 10. They're 10-2 to the over. That number, point being to me, is just a couple of points too low. I think whether they win, lose, draw, cover the spread, who knows? But I think they get 96 points. I really like the over 95.5 points. Again, 10 games out of 12 this year, they've had 96 points without Steph Curry. They could do it in the postseason as well. So just put that to the side, and hopefully we make a couple shekels on that. With that said, let's talk a little baseball with our good buddy Tommy Lorenzo. He is the host, Cover the Weekend podcast. Him and a couple of buddies of his Cover the Weekend podcast at your favorite podcast places, to your stores. Tommy, what's going on tonight? Scott and Joe, how are you this evening?
Doing really good. Waiting for a couple of the later baseball games here on the West Coast to kick off or get going. First pitch. Did okay earlier in the day, so hopefully finish the night off strong with a couple of West Coast plays here.
Okay, well, let's jump into those. We've got the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the LA Angels, and this Jays team is on a losing streak right now, losing their last 4. Can they really lose another one to the LA Angels here? They're minus 130 for favorite and plus 114 for the Angels. We've got a total of 8.5. Where are you going to go?
Yeah, I think the Angels are a live dog tonight. Little luck last night with that late inning comeback, but Angels have their best pitcher on the mound tonight in Soriano. The Blue Jays have been struggling a little bit against righties, 25% K rate over the last 10 games. So we'll see. The thing with Toronto starter Chris Bassett, great pitcher, but velocity and swinging strike rate have been heading south the last few starts. So I don't know if there's an underlying injury or just a little fatigue at the beginning of the season's hard to know. Thing with Soriano too, he keeps the ball down. And when you have the few power hitters you do on that Blue Jays team, it's really important that you're not allowing those long balls. So I think the Angels are a live dog tonight.
Mm-hmm. How about Soriano? They got his strikeout prop at 4.5. I usually go under against the Toronto Blue Jays. San Diego's that has the least strikeouts. Toronto, as of a couple of days ago, I didn't double check today, but Toronto was number 2 as far as least strikeouts. So I always, I look at those things and just keep it nice and simple, Tommy, and give it the under on the pitcher. But you said it, Toronto's not playing well. Everything has ebbs and flaws. He has had 5 strikeouts in 3 of his starts this year, 3 and 4, not great. They're giving you plus money as well on the over 4.5. Would you go over there?
Well, I think you have to demand plus money. I think the number's right where it should be at 4.5. Again, these Blue Jays batters are struggling a little bit against righties. 25% K rate would lead me to believe that he's probably going to clear the 4.5. I'd make a small play on the over. I'm the same way though, Scott. I'm always looking at under first on those K props. But tonight, I don't know. We'll see. I do know he keeps the ball down, and he should keep the ball in the park. So I don't know if I do any home run props on the Blue Jays. But the K prop's about where it should be, but I would lean to the over on it.
Any thoughts on this total here of 8.5? If the Angels are going to get the win, do you think that they can push this one over that total?
Well, my first inclination was maybe to go under, with that being at 8.5. But that Angels bullpen is so terrible, and that's what's always troublesome with betting a team that has just such an awful bullpen. If you saw Kenley Jansen the other night, he was just throwing batting practice out there. The other kid from Tennessee, Ben Joyce, he's hurt. So it's always a risky proposition. If the under's in play here, it'll probably be first 5 innings, but I'd avoid the under on the full game here just because that Angels bullpen can be so shaky sometimes.
All right, the other game, Los Angeles put a good series. Yamamoto on the hill tonight for L.A., playing great ball. Winners of 9 of their last 11. Arizona only 5-9 their last 14. Dodgers, what about 150, 160 or so favorite, depending on where you do your shopping.
Yeah, the D-backs always play the Dodgers tough, and, they are a good team. Their hitting has gone south a little bit over the last couple of weeks. I think that has a lot to do with Ketel Marte being on the injured list for a while there. He's back now. But the Dodgers have just destroyed Brandon Pfaadt. Another good pitcher. 951 OPS, 329 batting average lifetime against him. ERA over 6 against these Dodgers. So unless he comes up with a new bag of tricks, historically this Dodger team has hit him. So I see nothing but going LA on the run line here to try to get some value out of it. And Yamamoto, he's done nothing to make me think that he's not going to continue to be effective.
Are we going to look at anything for Ohtani in this matchup? Should we look for those RBIs or the home run?
I don't like playing those home run props myself. I would look at RBI or total bases for Ohtani. It looks like he's heating up again. Now, I was worried with Ohtani given that shoulder injury he had. As a Dodger fan, I saw what it did to Matt Kemp and to an extent Cody Bellinger. But it looks like he's starting to heat up, and he's seeing the ball well. And Brandon Pfaadt's the type of pitcher that Ohtani usually hits. So I wouldn't blame anyone for doing the home run prop, but I would do a total bases on Ohtani. He should get on, and he's always a threat to steal as well against a right-handed pitcher.
I'm not a big Cy Young Award prop guy, although I did hit with Chris Sale last year, knock on wood. So I can't say I don't play it, that's for sure. You're looking for one guy to emerge, Tommy, with the Dodgers. With all the injuries they have to their starting pitchers, it appears it's going to be Yamamoto. 4-2 ERA under 1, which is just mind-boggling. I don't know how the dude's got 2 losses when he's got an ERA under 1, but I don't have those prices in front of me. But would you go Yamamoto, Cy Young winner from the National League?
I think right now you kind of have to, but the value is completely gone. He opened up at 25-1 in the Cy Young market. I got him at 18-1. I always thought that he would be the best pitcher on the staff given Logan Gilbert and Blake Snell's injury history, and here we are. They're both on the IL. So I really think that Yamamoto is the play, but there's not a lot of value there. In the American League, though, I think Nathan Eovaldi of the Rangers offers fantastic value. He's around 22-1. And his numbers are right there with the Crochets and Scoobles. The only thing with Eovaldi is if he's going to, miss a month, sometimes he has arm fatigue or, they shut him down for a little bit. So that's the only problem there. But his numbers are off the charts. And right now at over 20-1, he's probably the best value in both leagues as far as Cy Young goes.
I definitely like where you're going with that. When we look ahead to the World Series, we do see the Dodgers as the favorite at plus 250. Do you have anyone else that you're looking at as more of a longer shot? You know, the Yankees are coming in second at that plus 750 range, but would the Texas Rangers be a team that you would circle?
You know, what worries me about the Rangers is their hitting. Their hitting still hasn't shown up. They have good hitters on that team, guys like Corey Seager, and they got some power guys there. So I think the verdict or the jury's still out on the Rangers. I love my Dodgers. They should be favored, but I'm really concerned about the Padres. On the trade market, if they pick up another pitcher, they're going to be very scary. They almost took the Dodgers out last year, and there's no reason why, if they meet up again in a short playoff series, that they can get the job done. So in the National League, I think the Padres, and they're a great number. I think to win the NL, they're 12-1. World Series are up at 20, 21, 22-1, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of value out there, Joe. Like you said, you just got to go out and look for it. There's a lot of short prices, but there's some things that make sense at bigger numbers for sure.
How about Seattle, 18-1? Are you buying into what the Mariners are doing?
I do, and if Logan Gilbert comes back and is fully healthy, even more so. Great bullpen, great starting pitching, and they're hitting up in the Pacific Northwest now. This team's actually woken up their bats. So, if they keep that up, I mean, they don't have to hit great, just not stink like they did last year with the bats. They're going to be right there.
Tommy, great job. Check out his podcast. Cover the Weekend podcast. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
Thank you both.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds. Reds are a really fun team. Reds are important. Talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott, Joe sitting in for Dave Sherapan tonight. He'll be back tomorrow, so keeping an eye on the little NBA, little NHL, and some baseball stuff. Not a great start, to put it mildly, for the Golden State Warriors. I will tell you their team total is down to 91.5, so if you didn't get a chance to put it in at 95.5, they're being shut out, Joe, 12-0. Now, it's only a couple of minutes in. Must-win situation, obviously 13-0 for the for the Teacups. They can't lose the first two and expect to win the series. I get that, but That's the beauty, though, if you bet the over 95.5, which I have the ticket on, that you can really win that bet two ways. You could win it because, Gold State's competitive and someone's going to win 100 to 95 or 96, or they get blown out. And no one plays defense in blowouts. We've seen that this postseason a gazillion times. So they can easily still get the 96, even though they have no points in 3.5 minutes. So I'm not really worried just yet. But good start for Minnesota.
They're going to get a basket, right, Scott? This team is going to bounce back. We know, right? Like, we can't see them being shut out the whole game. This isn't hockey, but I do think it's a great opportunity to jump in on some player props live right now. Jimmy Butler's come down by 3 points. 21.5 is his number. Actually, it's now 20.5, minus 122 to the over. I love it. I loved him at 24.5 going in. And Draymond Green, 8.5 is the number now. His was low at 9.5 going in. But you are getting plus money to the over 8.5 at plus 102. So this is a perfect situation if you liked the Golden State Warriors, any of their players to get their points tonight, coming back in on them if you didn't bet them, jumping in on them right now. So I'd take Jimmy Butler over 20.5 points at minus 125 and Draymond Green over 8.5 points at plus 102. Scott, I took their original numbers and Draymond Green just dropped to 7.5. Wow, that's low, Scott. He got, 18 points in the last game? He came out so strong in the last game.
Did he? I forget. I'll double check here. Yeah, let me see here in a second. What do we got? Draymond. Oops. He's kind of feast or fate. Like in a blowout, he can get himself kicked out of the game because he doesn't want to be there. So yeah, 18 points, right? On decent shooting, 8 of 13 too. I mean that's that's pretty good. 4 3-pointers. So, yeah, they'll turn it on. You're right. You use this as as a positive, a good way to bet some of these numbers because they're going to put 85, 90 points on the board. I would think they can't. Even Denver, you can't play any worse than Denver played last night, and they still put 100 points on the board. Yeah. So it's amazing these teams, Joe. It's remarkable. Denver last night. And really Indiana and the Knicks, even though they came back and won those games, but both those teams were down 20 points with a chance to take commanding 2-0 leads. I don't understand these teams who just screw around game 2 and just throw it away. So Denver, like I said, you can't play any worse than what Denver did. And there you go. Warriors hit a 3. There you go. 13-3. We've begun. We've broken the schneid there a little bit. Still 1-0 Washington after 1. Over under now is 3.5, but it's on the way of going to 2.5. So if you want to hold off, but if you want 3.5, you're getting plus 182. Washington is now minus 350 favorites. Carolina plus 255. And if you want to lay a puck and a half, you can with Washington at plus 130.
This feels like last game, Scott. This was the same situation we're in. We're rolling into the third period. Washington had a 1-0 lead, and the Carolina Hurricanes came back, tied it up, and then pushed it to OT. So if you think it's going to play out the exact same way, you'd be crazy not to grab the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 255, especially if you took the Washington Capitals originally. Scott, I didn't take it before the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 170. I will take them at plus 255 now because I'm sitting here with the Capitals at plus 140 going into this. So why wouldn't I hedge at this price, right? Like this is too good not to hedge.
That was probably, at least statistically, that was maybe Washington's best period. What they have 6 shots on goal, I think it was in the first period, 6 or maybe 7. They got 16 now. So they got 9 or 10 shots in the second period. Carolina, they had 7, 8, 9 shots in the first period. They only have 11. So they only got 2 or 3 in the second period. So combine the two, and you throw in, obviously, Washington scored a goal and Carolina didn't, and that makes that second period the best period of the 5 that they played in the series so far for the Capitals. And Ovechkin's got 3 shots on goal. So.
Oh, thankfully, right? He needs to get those shots for this team to have the ability to get the win. We're seeing the Capitals dominate the faceoff to 57% of the time. Both of these teams had to have 2 power play opportunities, both 0-2 on the power play, Scott. So I'm looking for the Washington Capitals to change that, though. They need to come out. They need to convert on this power play here and not give the Carolina Hurricanes a chance. I'm really hoping they come out, score early in this third period, and then try to lock down on the defensive side. A 1-goal lead isn't the situation they wanted to be in going into this third. I tell you that, because it's got to be haunting what happened last game.
Yeah. We put a poll question out tonight, and our in-game live poll question of the evening: which coach out of the 4 major sports is the most meaningless? Just basically doesn't have to be there. NFL head coach, NBA head coach. Of course, I threw in there C. Joe Mazzulla, Celtics last night. NHL head coach or the MLB manager. So NFL, NBA, NHL. Early voting in, and not to my surprise, the NBA head coach, C. Joe Mazzulla, 48% leading the way. Baseball, though, is 40%. Hockey and NFL are tied at 6%. I'm surprised about baseball. 162 games, using the bullpen, keeping guys motivated, all those extra players. I'm surprised at 40%. We're getting a decent number of voters. I think that Major League Baseball managers are the most basically useless, overrated, however you want to describe it. Mine would be NBA. I would go NBA 1, probably hockey 2, football 3. I think the baseball manager is the most important, to tell you the truth.
Interesting. Okay, so when I read the poll question, I need to read properly. I read meaningful. I read most meaningful. Meaningless.
No, meaningless. We don't do positives here on In-Game Live. Yeah, we're just we're just the opposite. We like negative talk. So yeah, it is exactly opposite pitch. So black coming up next.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe, our number 1 final segment. You know what time it is. Time for our Black Cloud Play of the Day. We hit last night pretty easily with Jake Ottinger over 24.5 saves. What do you end up with, 30, 31 or so? So that was a nice, easy winner. So we're 2-1 on the week. 30 up, 16 down since we've been doing this about a month and a half or so ago, 2 months ago. So 30 and 16, not bad. Let's go back to the ice. I was going to use, in fact, I did, saves in the first game, but then I realized, you know what, the first game starts at 7 o'clock. It's already on the air. So forget about that. So let's go to the second game, Edmonton, Joe, and Las Vegas. I got this one from covers.com. Nice job, boys. I'll hop on your suggestion here. And that is Vegas defenseman Noah Hannafin, 2 shots on goal or more, minus 122. So it's a legitimate 2 shots. It's not like minus 170, 180, 190. He is actually second, according to Covers, on the team in shots in a 5-on-5 situation. Second. He's had 2 shots or more in 7 of his last 10 games. So he does get 2 on a fairly regular basis, knowing that they're down 1-0 as well. I can't help but think that, the boys in pinstripes there are going to give every opportunity to Vegas to win this game. Expect some penalties on Edmonton, power plays. That's when the defenseman gets those slap shots. So I would be real surprised if he didn't get at least 2 shots on goal. And like I said, it's not a monster vig at all. So Vegas defenseman Noah Hannafin, 2 shots on goal, minus 122. Our Black Cloud play of the day. Can't lose.
That's a really interesting prop, Scott. I like it. It's one that I didn't look at. I didn't register him, but you look at the last game, 0 shots versus Edmonton. But when you look at him versus Minnesota, that very last game versus Minnesota, 1 shot. So yeah, he didn't go over, but in the games prior, he had 4 shots in game number 6 versus Minnesota, 5 in game number 5, 2 and 5. So you're looking at a guy that in that series versus Minnesota Wild that have a strong defense was able to go over that number in the majority of those games. So I like where you're going with that one. It's a great bet.
Yep. And listen, in 80 games, he had 145 shots, too. Yeah. So he was 4th on the team. And again, he was 2nd on the team in 5-on-5 situations. And maybe they don't call any penalties because it's the postseason. So that's 5-on-5, and that's when he excels. So I think they get to. I think they were embarrassed, Joe. What they end up with 6-7 shots on goal for the second period on. That can't happen again. It's kind of weird. I looked it up, because I was going to play some props with these goalies. I do like these save props, right? And it's really been kind of feast or famine. Edmonton has given up. Vegas has gotten 34 shots against Edmonton this year, 16, 42, and then 22. So if that continues, we had the lower one in game 1. I'm thinking this one we get to 30 to 35, maybe even 40, who knows, shots on goal. They got to respond.
They have to. So 17 total shots on goal in the last game. 5-on-5. Scott, it's scary how much Edmonton dominated. 5-on-5 hockey out there. So not when Vegas was on the power play, because Vegas on the power play was able to get some shots. But when you just look at those 5-on-5 numbers, they only had 9 shots on goal. For Vegas, 9 shots on 5-on-5 hockey, that is mind-blowing. And in those 9 shots, only 3 were high danger shots. So unbelievable there. We know how strong Vegas came out. They started out, Mark Stone got a power play goal, then got a regular goal, and then just things fell apart out there. So let's look for those power plays as well for Vegas. I think we're going to get there tonight. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, we mentioned this last night, Joe. That was the first time in 27 postseason games for Vegas, right? Short history. It's been around, 5-6 years, whatever it is. That's the first time in 27 games that they had a 2-goal lead in the postseason and lost. They were 26-0.
It's sickening.
Yeah, right?
And it felt like you could see the writing on the wall, didn't it? Like watching that game, you saw them go up. They were all excited. And then Edmonton scores that one in the first period. So anyone who was looking for both teams to score in the first period was all excited. If you're rolling with Vegas in the first period, you're excited. But Edmonton did what they did to the Kings. They just always come back in these games. Could be a nice live betting situation tonight, Scott, if we see it playing out that way again.
Yep. Third period getting underway shortly with Washington up on Carolina 1-0. The Vegas-Edmonton game starts in about 40 minutes or so, 9:40 Eastern time. And in NBA, it's 23-7 first quarter, Minnesota over Golden State.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15 and 19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe Madden in for Dave Sherapan tonight until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. 1 full hour to go. Look at NBA, little NHL, and some baseball stuff that we haven't touched too much on, but we got a couple of games starting here that no doubt we will delve into. Really, the big story on the NBA courts, Minnesota 25-12 now over Golden State with a minute and a half left in the first quarter. Some stiff... who was it that was in the Warriors starting lineup tonight, supposedly? Quentin Post. Who the fudge is Quentin Post, Joe? Second round pick out of Boston College. I should know that. My daughter went there, right? He was in your Warriors starting lineup tonight. Wow. So to replace Steph with a center. I mean, they're just, you can't wave the white flag, Joe. I mean, you're not going to have Steph for at least a couple of more games. So if this is the effort that they're going to put forth just because Steph Curry's not playing, well, forget about it. They got no shot in this series. I mean,
they absolutely don't. Right? Like this is a mess right now. That spread's moved to 18.5, Scott. We've seen it go all the way up to 20.5. So if you're looking for Golden State to really start to rally here, you'd want to jump on it now before it goes away. But what we're seeing with Minnesota, their spread in the first half was only 3.5, Scott. That's all they had to cover in the first half, or in the first quarter, was that 3.5. But we are seeing Jimmy Butler. I want to see his numbers. He sunk that first basket for the Golden State Warriors. It was a deep ball getting those 3 points, but now he has 5 points on the board. His number's still sitting at 20.5. Draymond Green, yet to record a single point out there. His number's all the way down to 6.5, minus 122 to the over. So who's going to wake up here for the Golden State Warriors? Or, Scott, is this game just going to be done? Or are they giving up without Steph Curry on the court?
Well, I tell you, this is a horrible job. I'm not a big Steve Kerr fan. I'm not. I think he's so overrated as a head coach. I think he's just as bland as everyone else. And tonight's game, to me, is showing it. Got a chance to go up 2-0. Don't forget, this Golden State team won, in essence, 2 games without Jimmy Butler in the first series because he got hurt, early in the game, won that game. Then they won game 4 without Butler. And for all intents and purposes, they won game 1 without Steph Curry because he got hurt early second quarter. So they showed they could win and at least be competitive, for goodness sakes. 15 points, 29-15 in the first quarter. You start some stiff Quentin Post. Joe, he played 3 minutes. It was 13-0 before they finally said, okay, the Quentin Post experiment is not working. Let's yank him. I don't think he's going to play again the rest of the night. I mean, just minus 13 he was in 3 stinking minutes. Why would you start him? Not Kuminga, not Looney, not Moses Moody. You're going to start a guy that barely plays? Man, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Steve Kerr, and I like the Warriors, and I generally rooted for them, but I think he is so overrated. These, all right. So we'll see. You want to hop on 18.5? That's down to 16.5. I don't know.
It's a hard one here, Scott, because it almost feels like this team is happy they won game 1, and they're happy to split the series here in Minnesota, right? Like, doesn't it kind of feel that way with the effort they're giving right now? Yeah, we'll go back home 1-1. Let's just play this game out and see how it goes. Like, I just don't think we're seeing the best of them in this game, but at some point, they've got to turn it on. That slow start. I look at all of those points, and I did think originally the Warriors could cover with the points. They did put a small sprinkle on that money line as well because they won 3 of the 4 regular season meetings. They've proven they got that win in the last game. I did take the Timberwolves in that first quarter, but expecting at some point Golden State to answer back. So I'd grab the points if you don't have them, but I wouldn't double up if you already do. And with that, we got another goal. The Washington Capitals, Scott.
Now, are they challenging the goal? Because I see it on FanDuel, but I don't see it on. There it is on the 4-letter network. Now it is. Okay, they were a little late there. Carlson with the goal. So 2-0 Washington. Power play goal. Interesting. Nice tic-tac go. But that was, can't blame the goalie on that one. That's how you run a power play. Boy, that was perfect. Perfectly done. All right, so 2-0 now, Washington. Over-under is still 3.5, which is surprising. Minus 156, though, on the over. And out of the Capitals are 20-1. Laying 20-1. You get Carolina plus 870 if you want to take a flyer on Carolina coming back.
The Washington Capitals can't blow this, can they, Scott? They really can't. They can't go into Carolina down 0-2. But
they can. We've seen some great comebacks in hockey. We've seen some wild comeback, right, in hockey. So, obviously, I'm not laying the 20-1. I would, give me a minute or so, let that get close to 10-1, and then maybe a couple shekels, just a little something on Carolina, or at least get Carolina to the point where you're getting them plus 2.5 plus money, whereas now it's 2.5 minus money.
Well, yeah,
minus 148. Get shut out, right?
Oh, well, I'm worried about the empty netter if they do. And you look at Logan Thompson. I seriously think Logan Thompson is the best goaltender so far in the playoffs, Scott. He's been so great between the pipes for the Washington Capitals. So you got to wonder here if this is his game to get that shutout, the big win, and give them the confidence rolling into Carolina, because this team absolutely needs it. I want to look at that block shot market and see where these players have been getting those block shots in the next commercial. I'm going to go through that and see if the Washington Capitals are doing exactly what they did in that last game and how many actual attempts we've seen out of Carolina, because it's going to be really interesting to look at that.
All right. Couple baseball games. Haven't touched too much on that. We only have a couple of games. One's a blowout, semi-blowout. Anyway, Tampa Bay 5-1 over Philadelphia. They play top of the 8th. We got 2-2 now. Atlanta, Cincinnati batting bottom 7. Cincinnati had the bases loaded top of the 7th, but didn't score. So it's 2-2. Braves minus 250. Ooh, that's a big number. I know they got the extra at bat. You get the Reds plus 190, and over-under is 6.5. I'd take a flyer on the Reds. You know, they've won one game in this series. The other one, they lost the 2-1 with Chris Sale on the hill. So they covered the run line on that one. It is 2-2. It's minus 320 plus a run and a half. So I'm not going to go there. That's stupid. But I would take a flyer plus 190. If the Braves don't score, you get to the top of the 8th, then the Braves won't be minus 245 favorites. It'll probably still be 2-1. But it'll come way down. So if you're going to bet the Reds, I would bet them now.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus 186, it makes sense, Scott. And I like that over 6.5 because this one does have that possibility of going to extra innings. And we all know as soon as we go to extra innings, we have that extra runner out there on second to start off. And that has every possibility of flying over that 6.5. And I do think it will get there. So minus 110 to the over 6.5, I will take a shot there.
All right, your Blue Jays, I got to bring it up, taking on L.A. They've lost the first 2 in this series. Oh, you got a little break here. We got to get a break in. That's right. This is a short segment. It's not the normal segment. So we got a guest on the other side. Well, you're really going to avoid having to talk about the Blue Jays. But we will bring it up, taking on the L.A. godforsaken Angels, who are in the process of maybe sweeping this series somehow, some way. Brady Cannon will join us next. We'll do a little golf with him, maybe a little NBA, and maybe a little baseball as well, as Brady can do it all. You see and hear all the time here on the Grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 2. More coming up in Game Live.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott, Joe Madden, hour number 2. Just to recap things so far tonight. Second quarter early on, Teacups 31-17 over Golden State, laying now 18.5. Hockey, Washington 2-0 over Carolina. They're approaching midway through the third period there. Carolina plus 12-1 now. If you want to take a flyer, we talked about wait until it got to about 10-1. Now would be the time to hop in if you want to do that. And then a couple of baseball games going on. Also golf. We got the first round in the books. It's not the most notable tournament. The Truist Championship in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Generally don't think Philadelphia, Pennsylvania when you mention golf, but it's actually got a halfway decent leaderboard. So with that, let's bring in our good buddy, SportsGrid Radio, SportsGrid TV host. You see it here all the time here on the grid, Brady Cannon. What's going on, Brady? How are you tonight?
Hey guys, good to be with you. And yeah, it is a little bit confusing because normally this is a signature event, right? And normally we would be at Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Wells Fargo Championship. Last year, Rory McIlroy won for the 4th time in this event, took down Xander Schauffele on Sunday. Well, Wells Fargo is no longer a sponsor, and Quail Hollow Club will be hosting the PGA Tour Championship next week. So the PGA Tour had to swerve here and find something different. They found a new sponsor in Truist, and they found an old classic golf course in Philadelphia that I'm really looking forward to seeing here called the Philadelphia Cricket Club, the Wissahickon course. So some funny names there, but a classic design by A.W. Tillinghast, and who has done, in your neck of the woods, Bethpage Black, Baltusrol, Winged Foot. So, this guy is the real deal, obviously one of the best there ever was. And so I'm excited to see the PGA Tour go back to some of these classic courses. Now, the weather is taking a little bit of shine off this property because it softened up the golf course. We're supposed to get more rain overnight and more rain into tomorrow. And, that's what leads to these guys tearing it up, shooting 61, 62 and that type of thing. But it is a big boy event. It's just not a name or a course that we're all together familiar with.
Okay, Brady. So what can you tell us about this course and what kind of golf or will it really suit out there?
Well, it's a great question, Joe, and I wish I had the perfect answer because when we don't have a golf course that we've seen for years and years, it's a little bit of guesswork, right? So the way I put my handicap together was looking for guys that have done well in the Northeast part of the country, guys that have done well on A.W. Tillinghast designs in the past, guys that have done well on bent grass. These are bent grass fairways and bent grass greens. And what I came up with was Patrick Cantlay, who got off to a very nice start today. Hideki Matsuyama, also 5 under par. He's done tremendously well on Tillinghast designs. Patrick Cantlay, most of his wins have come in this part of the country and on bent grass greens. Keegan Bradley, you guys know, a Vermont native, went to St. John's, did very, very well at the Country Club, the U.S. Open in 2020 in Brookline, Massachusetts, and is the Ryder Cup captain at Bethpage, another Tillinghast design. So I kind of just went with, guys that have done well regionally and play classic courses really well. And, it's worked out okay. My guys are off to a pretty good start. Keith Mitchell there at the top of the board has been getting off to good starts for the last handful of weeks, but he hasn't been able to sustain it. So we'll see if he can turn this into anything special here this week. Denny McCarthy, one of the best putters in the world, and that's what he's doing right now. He's number 1 in this field for strokes gained putting, but his iron play is pretty shaky. So we don't know if he can hang on. Colin Morikawa, rightly so, the in-game favorite right now, 2 shots off the lead. He's certainly the marquee name on that leaderboard.
Yeah. 72 golfers in the field after today's first round. All but 4 are even, but 5 are even par or better. So enjoy. The only thing I can tell these golfers, Brady, is enjoy it while you can, because if you think Bethpage Black is going to be shooting like this, it may be the same designer, but let me tell you, like I said, it's not happening. All right, my boy Ricky Fowler is on the leaderboard, 2 shots back. I can't remember the last time he won a tournament of any kind of significance, but maybe, just maybe, is he going to win?
You know, it would be wonderful for golf, and it would also be terrific for Ricky Fowler going into next week, because I think it was his very first PGA Tour victory came at Quail Hollow Club when it was the Wells Fargo Championship. So he will be participating in the PGA Championship next week at a course he's obviously had tremendous success with and he's very familiar with. So he would be, a perfect candidate to go into next week with a win under his belt. You mentioned his last win. I think it was about 3 or 4 summers ago, probably more recent than you would expect. The Rocket Mortgage Classic, if I recall, a tournament that he, one of his own sponsors, went up there and won that not too long ago. And his game got hot for about a year and a half, kind of surrounding that victory, but he's fallen off quite a bit. So this is a little bit of a surprise here, but the game looks really good right now, the way he started off, Scott. He's currently 40-1, and maybe you want to put a couple of shekels on him to go ahead and get this done, because he's 9th in this field for strokes gained approach, so the irons are firing well. He's 14th for strokes gained off the tee. That's good work with the driver. He's 13th for strokes gained putting. That's really good, but it's not so good that you worry it might cool off. And then he's 7th in this field for greens in regulation. So everything's looking really good for Ricky right now. You hope he can just hang on for 4 days.
Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Who are you looking at for maybe a top 10, top 5 finish that is getting value right now?
One of the guys I landed on is Patrick Cantlay that I mentioned, who's had a lot of success in this part of the country on bent grass greens. And, he's been playing pretty darn well, but he's been flying well under the radar because he hasn't won in a while and hasn't been making a lot of noise. And I like this type of golf course for him. My friend Justin Ray on Twitter pointed out another interesting fact about Cantlay. Over the last 4 years on the PGA Tour, he is number 1 in birdie average in courses that measure less than 7,200 yards. And that's exactly what you have here, a course that is just a little bit over 7,100 yards. Sure enough, Cantlay's off to a good start. I'd think about backing him in more ways than one. Finish position, win, what have you.
There you go. Great job, Brady. As always, man, we'll do it again soon. Enjoy the weekend, and you can check out Brady all weekend long right here on the Grid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. We're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Again, thanks Brady Cannon for joining us, as he does from time to time. See it here all the time. He's got the weekend show, I think, after Joe and I on Saturday and Sunday as well. We're on from 4 to 8 on Saturday. Then they pick it up from 8 to midnight. And then Joe and I 3 to 7 on Sunday. And then they go from 7 to 10, I believe it is, on Sunday, him and Adam Kaufman. So update on the baskets. A pathetic performance. We thought Denver, hit rock bottom, but we may be seeing it a little bit deeper with Golden State tonight. 36-19, down 17. Minnesota up 17. 6.5 minutes, Joe, left to go in the second quarter. And normally I would say, okay, it's the NBA, and there is still something to that. But for whatever reason, I don't know what Steve Kerr is doing tonight, but it does appear like he's waved the white flag. He's already played 13 guys. The starting five, obviously, and then 8 guys. And when I say play, we've only played 18 minutes. Pat Spencer, Yee Santos, Trace Jackson Davis have played 6 minutes. They've played a lot. And what's weird is, you could say, well, yeah, but the starter sucks, guys. So you got to, try something, right? Not really. If you just go by plus-minus ratings, Draymond is a -6. Jimmy B's a -5. Pazinski's a -4. So at least the starters were being competitive. It's all the other bums. It's the Jonathan Kuminga's -10. Kevon Looney -10. Pat Spencer. Who the fudge is Pat Spencer? -13. What are these guys doing? A rookie from Northwestern is playing in the second quarter of a playoff game. What is he? So that's why I say, you know what? I don't know if I would take Golden State right now. Because if he's going to let these guys play, then he's just given up on this game, which is really pretty sad, considering this is a second-round playoff game. And you're not going to have Steph Curry game number 3 or game number 4 if he's out, as long as they're saying he's going to be out. So
yes,
I think I'd stay
what's
away.
he doing? Is he testing the water here, Scott? Is he just seeing how these guys can perform and seeing who can really step up? So in game 3, he knows who to put out there on the court, or is he trying to play a little bit of mind games here with Minnesota? You look at the Golden State Warriors, they got that slow start in those first 3 minutes. So did he go, okay, let's just play around with these guys, and in the second half, we're going to see more out of Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green and those starters out there. There could be a couple different ways he's going with this, but you're right. It does sound like he's waving the white flag and just looking to play this one out, taking it back home with the series tied 1-1 apiece. But I still do think Jimmy Butler's lines are locked up right now, but only 5 points out of him. His line right before that got walked was 18.5. Hopefully he's not injured out there, because that's the only player I'm seeing walked at the moment. Draymond Green has put up 3 points. His live number is 6.5. We've got to see more out of these guys. They can't finish this game with 10 points. It's just outstanding. Not outstanding. The opposite of outstanding was what we're seeing out of them right now.
Yeah. I tell you, I love praying these props, and you get great, dare I say it, value. Hate that phrase, right? But the way he's playing the bench, I don't know. I can't help but think that these guys are going to play somewhere along the line, right? It is only the second quarter. And all the comebacks we've seen in the postseason, especially over the last week and a half, he can't possibly say, okay, this game is over. But I'd be careful. The Jimmy Butler one, especially, it seems like, boy, how's he not going to get 19 points? He's got 5 already. But like I said, if he's going to play all these other guys, I would.
Butler's going to get 30, right? He's just sleeping out there right now. No. Jimmy Butler, 30 points plus 550. No, it's not happening. I know it's not happening. No. What is going on with
I don't even know if he gets 20. Yeah. By the way, that Quentin Post dude is yet to play again. He's done. He's not going to play for the rest of that was his 15 minutes of fame. You got one shot, dude. It lasted 3 minutes, -13. I bet he doesn't play for the rest of the playoffs. So, these guys should have stepped up. Buddy Hield, Pazinski, it's still got some guys on that team. So 37-19, that's I don't say this too often, but man, that's just kind of like a stay away game. I don't have a good read. What do they got? 56 points over under. Maybe that's it. Maybe the under. You got 56. They're giving you 183.5, so you need 184 points. So you got 56, 66, 76, let's say 86. You need 30 more points just to get it to the 100 in the second half.
What are we looking at for
think the
team? Right?
good
Team
question.
prop. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what could Gold State be? Like 80? Away points.
82.5.
Wow. 82.5. We'll talk when we come back.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15 and 19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds. Reds are a really fun team. Reds are important. Talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Brother. Yeah, I got a guy on a breakaway, basically, and he can't even get a shot off of the Washington Capitals. Over 21 and a half saves for Freddie there. It was looking so good for the longest time. They just shut it down. Golden State shutting it down the first half, and I got Washington shutting it down in the third period, Joe. They're up 2-1, but I'm telling you, every time I look up, the puck is in Washington's end. They are holding on for dear life because it has been completely controlled by Carolina. They got the one goal, so if you have them at 12-1, that's not bad. They're still plus 630. I think there's a halfway decent chance. I wouldn't double down, but at plus 630 with 5.5 minutes left, I got a funny feeling they score a goal here. I would think a
On who? Who's scoring?
Carolina.
Oh, I feel sick.
Carolina.
I was counting the block shots market, Scott. 31 block shots for the Washington Capitals. Their defense is like everyone's getting in front of that puck. How are they allowing Carolina to just pepper the net? And I know they're getting in front of it, but 31 block shots in this game for the Washington Capitals already. So it's a great number, but Carolina shouldn't be getting all those opportunities. We look at them in this third period, they've had 12 shots on goal. So
yeah,
I don't know. Carolina has some momentum right now, plus 630. It makes me feel sick, but if you don't have a bet, it's great plus money.
Yeah. 2-2 still, by the way, Cincinnati, Atlanta. Interesting. Before it was 2-2 in the seventh. The over-under was 6.5. Now it's 2-2 in the ninth, although there is a runner on second base, but with one out, and the number is 5.5. This goes to extra innings. You're going to get 2 more runs. I'm going to take a little fly. I know it's got. Oh, they just locked it up. Son of a gun. All right, we'll see what happens. But if they put it back, I would take a flyer on the over 5.5, hoping it goes to extra innings.
Oh,
Phillies have made a
absolutely.
run. Phillies down 5-4 now, top of the ninth. Runner on first base. It was 5-1 in the 7th or 8th inning.
What did you like going into that one? I looked at the Phillies and I love what
Phillies.
this team is able to bring to the table. Did you bet them?
I did. Yeah, I put Philadelphia in
Yeah,
a little
me
round
too.
robin parlay. Bunch of hunched plays
Yeah.
that, I have different level parlays. Some teams I really, really, really like, and then others I like some flyers, so I put those in parlays. Philadelphia was one of them. More of an anti-Tampa Bay play. They've lost 6 straight home games. Tampa Bay, they can't. Well, they don't really have a home field. They're playing at the Yankee minor league park, but they play much better. Cincinnati scored 2 runs. That's why they locked it.
Well,
Man, if I would have looked
over.
at that 30 seconds soon, yeah, son of a gun. So the over
Right?
5.5 obviously hit, and they're still batting. Although we did take them plus the 190. I told you when it was 2-2, right? When Atlanta was batting bottom 7, I said take Cincinnati now plus 190 because it's, you get an extra 20, 30, 40 points because the Braves are batting. So if you did that, you're sitting on a winner, perhaps, or just
Yeah,
hedge
and
on Atlanta, 8-1
well,
right
yeah,
now.
plus 800. Would you are you going to hedge, Scott? Because you got it at plus 190, plus 800 right now in the Atlanta Braves, but they locked things up again.
Yeah,
So
I'd hedge. Let's see what they come back with. But listen, I had Toronto last night with a 2-run lead, top of the 9th inning, and they lost. So could it
Never have
happen?
Toronto.
Yeah, it could. It's you don't have to hedge very much at 8-1 odds, right? Even if you put just $10 on it, so you're going to win 19. So you put the $2 on this. At Atlanta at 8-1, you'll win 16. You'll still win, $6 if the Braves come back and win. If not, then you still win 17 on Cincinnati. It's well worth the lack of aggravation and pulling your hair out when the Reds blow a 4-2 lead on a 3-run homer with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Well worth it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. What are you going to do then with the Toronto Blue Jays? I know in your trends you did take them on that money line, but for me, it's got to be first 5 with Chris Bassett. And I'm going against everything. I hate to back the Toronto Blue Jays, but I think in the first 5, we're pretty safe here. I also think the your feet should be in play in this one. Either of these teams could get a run in that first inning. So I did play that as well as the Toronto Blue Jays money line as well as the first 5 run line, Scott.
All right. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get swept, right? Toronto. I mean, it's hard to sweep anybody anyway, let alone the Angels. So I would throw a little flyer. That in fact I did. That's one of those hunch plays. Philadelphia, Toronto, a couple of teams that I just kind of like. Not a lot, but if I had to go somewhere, definitely would be Toronto. How about the Dodgers and Diamondbacks? LA minus 158. Yamamoto on the hill, 4-2. ERA under 1. Over under though is 9, suspiciously enough. For a pitcher like Yamamoto, I mean, to get to 10 runs, you need both teams to play ball here. And what are you going to get out of the Diamondbacks? 1, 2, maybe 3 runs. You're counting on a solid 6, 7, if not 8 runs out of LA. That's a weird number, 9. You don't see too many 9s in baseball anymore. It's usually 8.5 or less. Something tells me Yamamoto's not going to be on this game tonight.
Ooh, if he's not on his game, that's going to be interesting to see because he's been so strong, right, Scott, out there. But I do think this nice warm weather game. I believe the roof will be open tonight. And I think that ball is going to go flying. So I'm looking for the Dodgers run line first 5. That's coming in minus a half a run at minus 115. I do think they win this. I think Yamamoto, even if he's not on his best, I do think he's going to get so much run support by the Dodgers here. I like the Yorfie in this one. The Dodgers have been really paying me nicely on that Yorfie. The Yorfie coming in at minus 128. I just don't trust the Diamondbacks pitcher in this one, and I think those home runs are going to come out of the Dodgers. I've got to take Ohtani for the home run tonight as well.
What are they giving you on Ohtani?
I believe he was plus 320 earlier in the day when I got it. So let me just see what he is for the home run right now. So hopefully right around that same
190.
190. Why is it gone down so much? Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I thought he was plus 320, so plus 190, still worth it. Maybe I was thinking, I think Freddie Freeman's adjusted a little bit. Maybe I was looking at his numbers earlier. Plus 450 now.
Really matter. You got Otani's 190, then you got Muncy next in line at 390, and then Freeman's at 450, and everyone else is higher than that. Maybe they just people just bet Otani blindly, every game, bet Otani, home run. We've seen some of these numbers adjust. So
I should go back to Mookie Betts, though. I've had Mookie Betts a couple of games here, Scott. He paid me in one, didn't pay me in another. So I think I want to go back to him because the last time I bet him, he didn't get it. And I hate leaving guys on the table like that. Mookie Betts has every ability to get a home run here tonight. He's plus 560.
Yeah. I hope he does because I got the Dodgers in a couple of parlays, and they're the last piece looking pretty good. 56-39, final seconds of the second quarter. Minnesota minus 16.5. Just looking at a little brawl in hockey here. And over-under is up to 193.5. So the scoring is picked up just a little with Golden State. So, I mean, they're still down 17 points, but that team total 95.5. Now it's at the half. I still need some work, but at least, I'm within striking distance, considering, they had 5 points with 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter. But I still wouldn't bet them.
No, I wouldn't bet him, but I've got to have faith they got to go over that original team total even. Scott, the live one is 88.5 at minus 122, so you're going to lay the juice. But if you don't have anything in it, I would look at that. But what do you think here of the T-Wolves team total? 105.5? You got to think if Golden State shows anything, right? Minus 106. I like it too.
Yeah. And the way they're playing, I think they'll keep their guys in there because they're not exactly shooting lights out either. So, fourth quarter up 20 or so. I got a feeling Randall and Gobert and all those guys will all still be in the game. So you might get your over 105. It still could, it still could go over the 201. You're not that far off, believe it or not. All right, Adam Kaufman coming up next here on the Grid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Just rearranging that riff. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe Madden sitting in for Dave Sharapan tonight until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's all but over in Washington. Capitals get an empty netter. It's not done yet. So if you did play a little hunch on over 4.5 at plus monster odds, you got 39 seconds to get a second empty net goal. 3-1 Washington leading there. They're at the half in the NBA game, if you want to call it that. It's been all teacups, 56-39 over Golden State. And then we got a couple of baseball games going on. So with that, let's welcome in our next guest, Adam Kaufman, who's sitting in, if you will, for Gabe, who's doing some things this week. And we do appreciate Adam joining us every night at this time. What's going on, Adam? How are you this evening?
Listen, I'll have you guys as often as you want me, so I'm here for you. Do you call them teacups? You got to put some respect. You gotta put some respect on the Wolves tonight. They are doing, exactly what they were supposed to do. And, for those that joined us on Game Time Decisions earlier when I was on, I mean, this is playing out exactly as I had hoped. We talked about Minnesota covering the first quarter spread, the halftime spread, the full game spread, team total under for Golden State. This is, I'm a little concerned, admittedly, about this Anthony Edwards injury. He left with an apparent ankle injury, and we don't know his status as far as coming back. Obviously, it was just prior to the half, so we'll get an update on that relatively soon, I'm sure. But as long as he does come back and is functional, I'm not saying he's got to take over. This team, after all, live numbers, 16.5. They're doing great. This is the answer that Minnesota had to have. There is no game in terms of these round 2 wins that I found more impressive than that of Golden State to open up this series with a limited Steph Curry. You lose him in the second quarter for the rest of the game, and as bad on the other side as Minnesota obviously was, but to win in that environment as a considerable dog, I was impressed, but you knew, or at least believed, that Minnesota was going to have an opportunity to answer back, and that's exactly what we're seeing so far.
So, Adam, with this game sitting the way it is here at the half, like you said, the spread is 16.5. We do have a total of 194.5. How are you expecting the second half to play out? And is there anywhere that you'd like to put additional money?
It's a good question. I'd be curious. I don't want to obviously play around with the spread. I'm perfectly comfortable having the minus 10.5 pregame, obviously, with where things stand right now, and having that team total under for the Warriors that I mentioned. So size and totals, I don't necessarily feel a need to invest. But as we sit here and chat, I'll just explore the prop market quickly, because I know that's the three of us when we get together during football season. We tend to do a lot of that. In terms of points right now, Jimmy Butler's sitting at 6. You can go plus money over 15.5. And remember, obviously, the Warriors are trailing pretty considerably so far in this one. They're going to have to look to someone like him to sort of come alive a little bit. Another one, Jonathan Kuminga. We were high on him pregame. He has 10 points, 17.5, now 18.5 at plus money is his live total. Granted, he's been perfect shooting. He's 5 for 5, but I think they realize they have something there and they want to continue to feed him the ball. I don't think there's anyone necessarily on that Minnesota side as far as points go. And then if I'm looking at 3-pointers, as well, Anthony Edwards props, obviously, with the uncertainty of whether he returns, are completely down for anybody wondering. Otherwise, I'd probably be looking at over 3-pointers for him if I knew he was coming back. But Dante DiVincenzo is 3.5. He's already made 2. That's an over I would consider, especially if we don't get Ant back, because I think he'll come up firing.
Adam, I'm not the biggest Steve Kerr fan in the world. I'm really not. I don't know what he's doing tonight. Now, we're not intently watching the game because we're doing our own TV show, sure, but he's played 14 guys tonight. 14. Yeah. Everybody has played except Steph Curry. I mean, this is a playoff game, and I get it. The guys are struggling, but if you look at the main starters, Draymond's only a -6, Jimmy B's only a -5, and Podzinski is only a -3. So the main guys are, doing at least halfway decent. It's all these other bums that he's putting in there. What is he? 14 guys in a half of a playoff game. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, in a playoff game, usually coaches will shorten the rotation, and you won't see more than 8 guys usually, unless things sort of get out of hand. And I think that's we're on the fringes of seeing that in this one. Things are starting to get a little out of hand. Again, this is a double-digit lead for Minnesota and a team that entered this game, Golden State, with just a lot of question marks in terms of how do we do this without Steph? And so I think Kerr is very much on the fly, tinkering with the rotation, just trying to find something that clicks, something that works. We're not getting the offensive outburst that a lot of people would have anticipated from Jimmy Butler. I mentioned he's got 6 points. His total coming into this game was 23.5, which I thought was way too high. But, again, the book's adjusting to that. And, now you're seeing the reality. He is not someone that, he's a great team player. I know, ironic given how many situations he's sort of torpedoed, but in game, in this atmosphere, in these postseason contests, he's a very solid team player. But, when he has to be the focal point, he doesn't usually respond to that, save for, obviously some outlier examples with the Miami Heat in recent years. So, I think Kerr is just looking at it and say, there's one guy who's got me double figures in scoring, and that's Kuminga, who I mentioned before, and he's only played 9 minutes, and like I said, hasn't missed a shot. And beyond that, it's just, there's inconsistency and there's balance. Like Kerr, has watched Green, Butler, Hield, Podziemski. None of these guys have taken, they're all between like 5 and 7 shots outside of Draymond Green. So, long-winded answer short, I think Kerr is just trying to find a combination that works for this team because unlike game one, it's not working tonight.
So, Adam, when they return to Golden State, do you give them a fighting chance? Do you think he's going to find that combination that's going to work out there?
No, I don't. Minnesota probably doesn't lose a game the rest of this series. That's how I see it. I think game one was so incredibly fluky. Minnesota is so much better than Golden State as it exists right now. I might obviously be talking a little differently if Steph Curry were available. He's not going to play in the rest of this series. We already know he's not playing for 3 games, at least including this one with that hamstring issue. And I don't think he comes back. So, no, I think Minnesota wins out.
Adam, great job as always, man. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are important to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in game live game day on the grid. Again, thanks Adam Kaufman, who you see here all the time on SportsGrid, generally on weekends after me and Joe on Saturdays and Sundays. Do appreciate a few moments with him. And, we had mentioned this, before we brought Adam on, right? This is why you take the Atlanta Braves at 8-1. I know you're saying, well, you throw away a couple of dollars, Scott, but it's at this point, been doing this way too long, Joe. I try and eliminate all hair pulling out of my life. Braves scored 2 in the bottom of the ninth. They're tied at 4 going to extra innings. So if you had that, Reds ticket, plus 90, you thought was going to be a winner, right? Okay, there's no way they're going to blow a 2-run lead. That's why it's well worth sacrificing a few dollars to be able to say, you know what, it doesn't matter now because I got the Braves. I may have more on the Reds to win, but at least I know I'm not going to lose my bet, and I bet enough on the Braves that I'm going to win some money if they come all the way back and win. So, yeah.
And they've got a runner on third right now, right? So they got a runner on third. They're now $2 favorite, Scott. So, yeah, it was a great position jumping in at the plus 800. So, really nice call on that. And we do have the game bottom of the ninth between the Phillies and the Rays. That one tied 5-5 apiece as well.
Yeah.
How
about that?
Total 12.5. Yeah.
You got a 12.5? Yeah, mine's locked. So, when they were down 5-1, seventh, it was at least the 7th. I'll double check. It may have been even the 8th inning. But I know it was 5-1, obviously. So it was 5-1 in the heading to the top of the 8th. Yeah, they scored 3 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th to tie it at 5. They were big dogs too.
My Jays are already disappointing me. I had to call it out right away. We got the Yurfie, but it was the Angels getting those runs. 2-0 at the bottom of the first right now. Are you kidding me?
Wow. You look at their lineup, and I know the Stanky lineup is pretty good, but they might have the second best lineup in the American League East, Joe. They should not be struggling the way they are. It's just like, they got a good pitching staff. And listen, it's only the first inning, so obviously they come back and win. But down 2-0 already, man.
It's awful.
Those score Dodgers and Angels or Arizona.
Plus 210. Do they get it done? I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, probably
Give me
not.
4-0. Give me plus 410. Maybe I'll take a shot.
Yeah.
Plus 2.5 run line. Maybe I'll take a shot at this price. It's not worth it for me. Distress over the Toronto Blue Jays getting a win. Wow. The Angels got 2 runs, and they have now a runner on first as well.
Yeah. Chris Bassett not exactly doing a great job without Trout in the lineup, obviously. We get the manager's fired system in play tomorrow as Pittsburgh fired their manager Shelton today. So they're hosting Atlanta. If you want to put that in the back of your, put a couple shekels on that now if you want to. So NHL, they're underway. First period, 5.5 minutes in, no score, Vegas and Edmonton. The over-under is down to 5.5. Washington did win. I don't think we get the final score, but they did win. They got the empty netter. Didn't get a second one, so they win 3-1, so they even that series at a game apiece. So that was a good job. It wasn't a great performance. Carolina can really shut teams down if they want to. They only ended up, I'm pretty sure, with 21 shots on goal with that empty netter counting as a shot on goal. But bottom line is they won, they even the series, and you don't get extra points for making it look pretty, Joe.
That's exactly what they needed to do, though. So they're coming in as a plus 152 underdog going into Carolina. It's going to be a very hard place for them to be able to get the win. So the Carolina Hurricanes are minus 184 on Saturday. Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Scott, we should be live for this one. We got a total of 5.5. Yeah. So that is going to be a great matchup out there on the ice. But I tell you, that price on the Capitals plus 152, I don't know if it's enough to entice me to take the dog when they're in Carolina.
How about Toronto? Speaking of dogs, plus 190 tomorrow. They're up 2-0. Obviously, Florida has to win, but they wouldn't be the first team to lose the first 3 of a series. That number is ballooned the way it is just because they're in a must-win situation. But to me, they're in a must-win situation kind of in game 2. So, but it's hard not to like the plus 190.
I think I'd look Toronto first period to win it.
Yeah. And then we got Dallas and Winnipeg. So Winnipeg losing game 1. They need to win. All right. Do the Warriors at least cut it to 9?
Oh, yeah.
Down 14.
Let's go. They cut it to 9.
Let's go. Yeah. Butler with a 3-pointer. He's got 8 points. This will be crazy if they come back and win this game, right? Yo, great job, man. Appreciate you going in for Dave tonight.